Good morning, afternoon, and evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Sandbox game live stream for Saturday, June 12th, 2021. My name is Joseph Madding. Alongside me, through the magic of the internet, Big Dog, Mr. Magic himself, Alex Florez. This
Thank you,
time he does the
Joseph.
magic fingers. Hello, Alex.
I
How
always
are
do
you
the
doing?
fingers. Every time you say
I
magical,
know. I know.
means, it's all part of the
Folks,
show.
each and every Wednesday right here on youtube.com, twitch.tv, Theta, DLive, Facebook, and twitter.com/the Sandbox game. We're having some connection issues this morning with that. We'll work that out for you soon. We play the games that you upload to the Sandbox Game Maker Gallery. That's not right. It's not Wednesday. We are teaching you some things here. I apologize. And give feedback to help you make a better game experience. So if you're watching live with us today, you have a special opportunity. During the stream, feel free to ask us anything from questions about the game maker, maybe our asset creation software Vox Edit, questions about the metaverse, or anything else that you want to know about in the sandbox. We'll answer these questions live as they come in. And for those questions we cannot answer live, feel free to click on the wonderful social channels in the description below this video and tag us after the show on Discord, Telegram, Twitter, or any of our other great platforms. We'll get an answer out for you. Of course, if you're watching this later over on youtube.com, you may want to join us each and every Saturday starting at 1800 UTC. Those watching live have the unique opportunity to win a Wizzy the Blue NFT right here on this stream. But more details on that will come later, so stick with us. For now, Alex has a little bit of news that he would like to share with you as we get started.
Yeah, well, we did mention this on Wednesday, and it is not Wednesday today. I think Joseph is excited because next Wednesday he might be the person playing games while we're live on stream. So, we'll see how that goes. But it is not Wednesday; it is Saturday. But we did mention last Wednesday that stakers can now claim their key NFT by going to nft.sandbox.game, which brings up this page. This mentions all claimable assets. I had somebody ask me this question earlier this week. This is the list of all assets that could be claimed by somebody. It does not mean that you can claim them because this page does not connect to your wallet. So this is not a list of everything that you will necessarily get. You do have to go to each one to see if you're eligible for it. So if you think that that you met the requirements to get Coin Market Captain, then you can go to this page, click claim, and there would be a claim button on this page if you are able to claim it. I'm not able to claim it because I did not meet the requirements to get Coin Market Captain, but that is the process. So you do have to go to each one that you want to try to claim, and if you staked any amount of sand in May, then you are eligible for a key. So definitely go check that out. There's going to be more fun stuff going on with these claims because we're doing them every single month, and who knows what's going to come out of that. Lucas is right. Says, Alex, quick question: if we purchase a Wizzy the Blue, can we still win one as well? Technically, yes. Yeah. So I am not keeping track of who has bought or sold Wizzies. I am only checking to see who has won from our giveaways. So we keep a record of everybody that we've sent them out to. So yes, you could buy one and win one also. It would just be one too many things for me to keep track of. I'm not going to look at the list of all current Wizzy owners every single time we send them out, because that's just a lot of manual work that would slow down production of the game if we did that. So,
Right.
we're not gonna go that extreme. Anyway, let's get that out of here. What we do on Saturdays is we answer your questions about the game maker, and so usually we have like a tutorial or something set up. I didn't have anything specific planned today, but I feel like there's some things that we can talk about because we are preparing for the end of the Game Jam. The Game Jam, the final date for submitting your entries to the Game Jam is the 21st, which is in just 1 week from today, right? Today's the 12th.
That's
So
the 12th today. Yeah.
so in 9 days, you've got 9 days, and then that's it. So we want to make sure that we cover all the bases, answer all your questions to wrap up production of your game before it's too late. Let's see. I see a question from Smallblur Studios. Can you guys do an updated tutorial on asset uploads? Video 3 is a bit outdated. Yes, it is. I am sorry. That is on my my list of things to do, which gets bigger every week, and it gets bigger than it gets smaller every week. So hopefully I will be able to produce an updated tutorial for that soon in the next week. The process hasn't changed too much. It's mostly the layout of the page has changed for asset submission. So some things have moved on the page. I believe what the buttons say is the same on every page. The biggest difference, and I don't remember exactly what's in the tutorial, but the biggest difference might be that the gem and catalyst selection is no longer a button that is available on that, and that's because there's some changes happening to that system, and we're kind of in a transitional phase for that. If you are in a situation where you need to set gems and catalysts for something in order to make your game work, reach out to me and I can help you with that. It's not super complicated, but I don't want to say it live on stream broadcasting to everybody because it's going to be changing soon. So I don't want to have people like clip this and be like, oh, this is how you do it, this is the way it's done, because it could be changing at any point now. So I can help you in that moment one-on-one, and I'm happy to do that, but we'll kind of skip over that for now. There was a question from Logan Anderson. When you make an entity have an add spawner, can you turn it off if the avatar leaves a certain area? So I'm a little confused about the start of the wording of that question, but I think I understand it from the second half of the question. So you want a spawner to stop spawning when you're outside of a range, and yes and no. So you would have to set up gates. It's not so much that you're sensing that the avatar isn't present anymore. You're sensing that it's present somewhere else. So let's grab some sensors here real quick. So we're not actually going to set up the whole thing, because I think based on your question, you already know a little bit what you're doing, so you're trying to answer a specific situation. So let's say that you have let's just say this is a spawner, and when the player enters it, it activates it to start spawning. So typically that would be, and we're going to set up a second item here, which is we are going to actually put the asset spawner behavior just so we can see what options it's looking for. So we get asset spawner, and let's say you set up a speaker component to detect entity of avatar in that range, and that sends a message that turns the spawner on, and it does that with whatever message you set up for the speaker to say the speaker says spawn as its message, and that makes the asset spawner begin spawning. Now it's spawning, and the player leaves the area, and it's still spawning, and you want it to stop. So what you need other speakers that would be on the way out. So you put a smaller radius on them, and you have another message for those. And if this is something where you probably wouldn't want a big wide open area, because you'd have to set up a whole bunch of them and make a whole ring of them. Or, what would make it easier is have an enclosed area and then put these in each doorway on the way out. And these would send the same message to deactivate the spawner. So what you want on the spawner is another component for toggle behavior. And actually, with the toggle behavior, you wouldn't even need. This would actually be a little bit simpler because you wouldn't need a message to turn on the spawner. You would just have the spawner be on by default. So, spawner, we get rid of the message required for the spawner. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, because the spawner does need a message to send, so you would have some sort of message broadcaster set up.
Okay, I'm gonna answer some questions that are popping up in chat really quick.
Okay.
Cardatst, you mentioned that you submitted some assets a little while ago, and that they didn't work. I thought I had mentioned directly to you, but it was probably in text, so you missed it or something, that the assets that you submitted, and this is true with many folks, you're submitting links where you're almost getting through the process, but you have to go back into the website and make sure that on the website you request them for approval, because just sending me a link doesn't allow me to approve it. So, for Kara, you have something in the degree of like 25 different assets that all have links, but when I click them, they either go nowhere because you made a change or deleted them, or they don't have a approve it button for me because you haven't officially made that request. So once you fix them, if you resubmit them all today, they'll probably have new links for many of them. So you'll want to resubmit the form, or you could make an Excel spreadsheet or something and send it to me directly. It's up to you. But I can do that. And then the some of those other assets, I see there's some new ones as well. Smobler, you got a bunch of them that I'll have to go through today. Tobin has a few, and I'm just trying to not say, any emails, but people that I recognize. M. Jennings has some new ones, so we'll get those approved. Been doing a lot of great work with our ambassadors, getting ready for the metaverse for you guys, and making plans and making some changes therein. Our entire I had to redo my entire training kind of on the spot yesterday because we redid the entire social hub. So for those ambassadors who are watching right now, if you haven't been in the social hub, go back, check it out, because your little booth just for you guys is moved right next to the spawn now. Greenview, essentially the ambassadors are people that we see as standout members of the community that obviously it helps if you talk to me about it, but if you're out there always kind of on social media, or you're always helping people in the chats on Discords or something like that, and or you're working on a nice project where again you're helpful to the other people in the community with that project, then you may come into the ambassadors program, and then we go over all sorts of different things. Some ambassadors right now within that program have signed up for what we're calling live ops, which is the people that will help you when you get into the metaverse to understand what the heck's going on, and have some fun at events.
All right.
Logan, I don't really understand this question. I apologize, Alex. Logan says, how come there are no chests in the game maker? Do we have to buy our way to make a game? So if you could.
So there are chests on the marketplace. There should be some that are free at the moment.
Okay.
Now you can make your own chests with VoxEdit, and you can request if you're working with the game jam, you can request access to upload, and very, very soon here. We're making sure all the technical details are lined up. But if you you will have access, everybody will have access to upload their own assets very, very soon. Let's see. All right. So if you type chest in the marketplace search, There's a mimic chest that is for sale. Obviously, you probably don't want that as your treasure chest because that'll try to eat you. There's a whole bunch of chest armor that's going to show up first, but I would suggest going to the earlier pages from before we had armor, and you can see that there's a steampunk chest, treasure chest, forest treasure chest, ice chest, forest chest, another ice chest, Egyptian chest, skull chest, treasure chest, underwater treasure chest, another steampunk chest. So there have been a whole bunch of different treasure chests that have been made, which you can add to your inventory right now for free to put in a game. In order to mint your game to a land on the land map, once that is available, you will need to buy a treasure chest or upload and mint your own. That's just part of the system, the minting blockchain system. So yeah, there's over 7,000 free assets right now on the marketplace. So if you go here to the left side, you can see the numbers next to everything, and you can see that there's 7,580 published assets. Now a whole bunch of these are for sale. You can see that there's 5 pages of sale, and I think there's 20 assets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 times 4 is 24 times 5. So like 120 or so assets are. My math is probably totally wrong there. I'm not good at math in my head, but there's about 100 or so assets that are for sale right now, and then probably another 100 or 200 assets that have sold out. But that still leaves you with over 7,000 free assets that you can add to your games right now to put on the gallery. So that is.
Lorelei says it says 104 at the top.
Oh yeah, it does. It does. That's. I skipped right past that. I was like, let's look at the page numbers and do the math.
Now, really quick, I want to touch on something that has long scrolled by now. Rebecca Brotherston, you said, can I create logos or write the names of big companies? And I think you sent me a direct message about this on Discord, and I tried to answer it there, but maybe it was in a chat like this on Wednesday. But you cannot make those logos for Google, for Facebook, YouTube, Amazon, because those are trademark, which means that there is a law that supports their right to the way that those logos look. They have to submit special forms with like technical drawings to say exactly this angle of a curve is how we make our logo. So when you reproduce that, they could absolutely sue to have you remove that. Or they could just give a cease and desist notice that says, we're about to sue you, in which case it would need to be enforced immediately. So I would recommend just not doing that. There's a game that recently came out called Emily is Away 3 that uses it's all about just like social networking and like being a high school senior in 2007 or something like that. And they have a parody on Facebook called Face Nook, where they barely get away with it because it is parody. So you can do things like that. That is legal. You'll see that in copyright and trademark law that parody is kind of the way to get around it, but you can't do the exact thing. So if it was like Boogle or whatever, then that would be probably fine. But Google won't work, Amazon won't work. I would recommend also not using the partner logos that we have, just on the off chance, because they do partner with us and we create official content. But when we do, that's curated content that we still have to send to them and get approval and say, does this look good? Is it what you want? And then they give it their stamp of approval and we can publish it then. Until then, we can't even do that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Lucas pointed out you could use phony instead of Sony.
Exactly.
There's a popular, it's more than just iCarly. There's lots of other places I've seen Pear Books. And even this goes way back. This might be a little too old for some people. I grew up reading a comic called Bloom County. You might be familiar with Opus the Penguin or Bill the Cat, which were characters from that comic. And they had, I think, banana notebooks or banana
Oh, yeah.
computers. Yeah, this was
Yeah.
before laptops, so it was not banana notebooks. This was like late 80s, early 90s, and they instead of having Apple computers, they had banana computers and things like that. And cola is not a copyrighted or trademarked term, so I made this cola machine and kind of gave it like that feel of like the Coca-Cola logo, but it's not. It doesn't say Coke, and is not.
Right. Oh, motorcycles. Man.
Okay,
It's a
I
beautiful day.
I thought a jet
apologize.
was gonna like fly over your house. So yeah, I went with a cola logo with kind of a scripty view, and this is the first time I've zoomed in with the new layout, and it's actually kind of cool how many times it changes when you zoom in, the different orientation of things. So yeah, somebody asked how you can tell if they're free. Well, you can tell if they're so the assets aren't ultimately going to be free. People are going to want to sell most of these assets. They're free for now for you to try out, and you can tell because they've got a plus sign next to them, which means you can add them to your inventory. So you can just like I was looking at this one, this cute little it makes me think of Pokemon kind of, but it looks like some sort of like fairy sprightly forest character. So you can press the plus sign and it will be immediately added to your inventory. The next time you open an experience in the Game Maker, you will see it in your library. So if I just switch back to the Game Maker, because I still have the Game Maker running, it's not going to be in here right now. I would have to save, exit, come back, and then it'll be in my library. You don't have to exit entirely. You just have to exit to the main menu and then open up an experience again, and that will bring it back. So to go back to the question that we were trying to solve earlier, so what I've set up here is a spawning room, and I need to make sure that this spawner is actually off to begin with. Asset spawner. Yeah, somehow I forgot to add the toggle behavior to it. Actually, no, I have the toggle behavior on the ladder here. So the actual asset spawner is spawning these citizens, and if we edit the logic, it is waiting for the message spawn before spawning the asset. And just double checking here, making sure all that is in order. And then we've got the ladder asset here, which is a message broadcaster that sends out spawn. And initially it's going to be turned off. And then we're going to turn it on by trigger toggling it. And that should do the trick. Let's see. Detect entity, avatar, and it sends the message of... Where's the message sender? Auto hide message. Okay, that's why it wasn't working before, because somehow I missed sending the trigger message. Here we go. All right. So it should start if we're standing right here. We should be able to wait 5 seconds with nothing spawning. And nothing appears to be happening, which is good. So we walk into the room. Numpad says hello, which just tells us that it sensed our presence. And now our spawner is running. And I did turn collisions and gravity on purpose, so that way...
Run. Yeah.
And what is that skipping is pretty hilarious. Oh, and that one fell over. It gave up. There we go.
He's got
Whoa,
overboard.
overboard.
He's on an invisible horse, you know. Not even worry about it. Yep. Oh.
All right, so now if we leave, it says hello again. And that should have turned off the spawner now. So we should be able to wait 5 seconds without seeing any new ones appear. And that appears to have worked. Now, the danger with this is that if we don't walk in, we walk close enough, that's going to turn it on again. So we're not in the room and it's still running. So what you want to do in that case, and this is a good thing about the way the toggle behavior is set up, is you actually want a turn off and turn on message and not toggle. So we're going to set the toggle message to none and put turn on to trigger. And we're going to put turn off to trigger 2. And we are going to extend this hallway.
Kirsch, right now we can't upload our own sound assets, but
No, not yet.
the motorcycles are not a sound effect. It is an unfortunate symptom of me living on a very rural highway, sort of. It's not even a highway. It's a 1-lane road that is 2 blocks from the ocean. So just down the road, you get beautiful vistas and sights when you're driving your wonderful motorcycle on a day like today. And so this is my life. And unfortunately, there's not much I can do about it except turn my stuff all the way down when that comes up.
So what we're doing now, and this is why I said this is easier to do with like a hallway or a doorway, something where you can control the flow of traffic. Having this in an open area is still possible, but is a lot more difficult to line things up the way you want, and it requires a lot more sensors. So what we have here is we have our exit and our entrance, which is the same hallway, but we're creating a kind of gating system here where this turns off the spawner and this turns on the spawner. So our outer one here says goodbye to let us know that, visually cue us for bug hunting, basically. And it sends trigger 2, and then the inner one says hello and sends trigger. And then our message broadcaster's toggle is set to turn on with trigger and turn off with trigger 2. So as you walk in, it turns off, but it's already off, so that doesn't do anything. It's you can't turn off an off switch. But as we continue to walk in, it turns on. And we want to make sure that they don't overlap because that could get confusing. We want a little bit of a gap between them. That way the state doesn't like flicker between the two as we transition through the hallway. And then on our way out, it tries to turn on the on behavior, which doesn't do anything. But then we pass over this and it turns it off again. So let's make sure that works. We wait our 5 seconds and nothing is being spawned, which is good. That's what we want. Okay, that says goodbye. Still nothing is happening. This one says hello. And now things should start spawning. There we go. Get out of here. Yeet. And now we go to leave. It says hello. We turn back and it'll still be spawning. And as we continue, it says goodbye. And now has stopped spawning. And it worked. So that is how you just saw the flip there.
Yeah.
So that is that's our spawning system set up for going in and out. So if you wanted to create like a now we don't have experience points and leveling right now, but if you wanted to create a arena where people keep on fighting spawning enemies until they leave, then this would be one way to do it. There's all sorts of other reasons you might want something like this. Maybe items for players to collect. You could have like a prize room where coins keep falling from the sky or something. So there's all sorts of reasons you might want to have this sort of system set up and have fun with that. This was actually one of the games that we tried out. I don't remember off the top of my head who made it, but they had a bunch of TVs spawning in a junk pile, and they kept spawning after you left. And we mentioned how if somebody leaves this game running for a few hours, you're gonna have like thousands of TVs in the room.
Yeah.
And so a system like this would help you turn that off. Voxel-based. Thank you, Loyalay. Yes, it was voxel-based. So having something like this set up will let you turn that off, so that way you don't have thousands of these TVs or Viking warriors running around.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's that.
Now, really quick, Greenview Media, you asked if there are ragdoll effects. And for the purposes of anybody who's new watching, I want to make sure that I answer this fully. There aren't currently ragdoll effects because there is not a in-depth physics engine. There is a functional physics system right now where you can, as you could see there, kind of push things around or make them have collisions with each other so that they do interact with each other. But it's not a super like high-end physics engine. And we are working on a process that probably 5 months left in this process to completely look at Robin Hood over here shooting other people into this wall.
Robin Hood was only able to split arrows with arrows. This person's splitting people with people.
He's splitting the wall with their thighs. Like, this is crazy. But anyway, so yeah, you can see the physics engine is pretty rudimentary here, and so once we have a fully functional like weighted physics and that sort of thing, instead of just does it collide, can it float or fly or whatever, is there gravity, that sort of thing, that'll change, and then you may be able to do ragdoll, but that'll be its own possibility then much after. So just good to keep in mind. It's hilarious. Alex, you made a Viking gun.
Yeah. This is historically accurate Viking simulators is
fair enough. Yes. Yes.
We can make it a little goofier.
So I'm wondering if Alex, so I'm looking at this idea and you have it set so if they walk in the room, this does the thing. If they walk out of the room, this does the thing.
Yeah.
But what about if you have, or you're in proximity of a space? Can it trigger and turn these on? And then when you leave proximity, it auto turns it off. So like, let's say, there's not walls that you have to do. If you were just,
well, that was the initial question. And this was that was the initial question. Like when you leave this area, will it turn off? And we don't have a way to sense that. We don't have a way to sense that a person has left an area, so that detect entity, that's only an on. That's only an on. So we can't. We don't have a function for can't detect entity anymore at the moment. So what you would need to do to set up an area is you would need a circle of these sensors. You would need the exact same setup that I just did, but you would need to put them all in a circle around the area. So you would take this sensor and you would duplicate it and you'd make a ring of them around the area. Actually, for the turning on one, you would only need one. You would need one in the middle with as big of a radius as you need to sense the area of it turning on, and then on the outer edge of it, on the outer edge of this blue ring, you would need to set the turn off as like a daisy chain around the whole thing.
Sure.
And that's what I was saying. It's easier to do it in a hallway, in an area where you can control the flow of traffic. But you could set it up in a big circle area. It's just more complicated.
Yeah. So if I was to, let's say I was making a game that was in a 4x4 land situation, one of those giant games that, you got a bunch of space. I might, as I was first starting, if I wanted it to be open world sort of environments where things spawn as I get in proxy, I would make 3 different sizes of these circular ones that Alex is talking about for me. One that's quite small for compact areas, and then the ones that are larger, the disadvantage, of course, being that once you get out of the zone in any given direction, you'd have to make sure that narratively it makes sense that the enemies just kind of give up, essentially, right? Because they'll stop spawning. They'll still be chasing you, the ones that exist, but
Right.
if you program them that way, but the spawning would stop. So
Yeah.
if you had something that like a hut or a building that they were seeming to come out of, um, and then like you had this kind of rotating AOE, it could be good. Or if you were going for something crazy, you were trying to do something all new. Maybe you have like a real time strategy that you've been trying to work on, and you're using much more complicated systems based on calculators and things like that. That could also be useful there, where you'd have like adventure quests to go on.
Yeah, and
Anyway,
you can have a you could set this exit to have a kill message also. So can we set more than one? No, so we'd have to duplicate this and also have it have it say kill. And that will, so we go in, these start spawning like crazy, and then when we go out, oh, did it not, is not killing them. Did I not set it up right? Let's see. It says kill, goodbye, kill, and then these should all be having the health component.
Crypto Tech will probably do that in about 5 minutes here.
I'm not sure why that's not killing them. Maybe I just didn't set it off correctly, because that should be the default. Yeah, kill is there. Let's try that one more time. Maybe I just didn't set it off correctly. So we've got that. We'll wait for those messages to clear, then we'll leave. There it goes. Okay, so I think I walked back too quickly. So you may need to make this hallway longer. This is one of those things where you test it out and see what works, what doesn't work in the situation. So the way that I became Alex Breaker of Worlds is by just doing the same things over and over again, different ways, and being like, can I break it this way? Can I break it this way? Can I break it this way? And that's really how you need to test your games and have other people test your games, is by trying to color outside the lines. Be like, okay, I know I can break this by leaving this way. They'll keep on spawning if I use their pile of bodies to escape. It just looks so bad.
Right.
So yeah, that's a way that, so I need a higher wall, something to block my avatar from getting out, no matter how many bodies pile up. Maybe you probably don't want things to infinitely spawn. You're going to want to figure out a way to limit this. Maybe put on some sort of timer delay, so that way eventually the spawner stops running on its own. There's different ways you could do this. You could have the characters constantly lose health to the grass, or you can have a void that runs every once in a while as like a cleanup. These are, it's going to be different for every situation, how you want to use something like this. So, just be careful about it. Can I set these? They won't spawn the same thing.
Greenview,
but they will
Media
spawn.
Over on YouTube asked, I notice the enemies blink when they die. Can you key color animations in Vox Edit? Like, for example, obviously when they die, can we change the color of that blink? I assume that's where you're going with that.
Yeah, the flashing that they do, that red flash, doesn't come from Vox Edit. It comes from the game maker. So we might have a way to suppress that blinking. That was actually something we talked about on last Saturday. Was ways that you can get rid of characters without seeing them be gotten rid of. Where'd it go? Why am I not seeing spawner? Did they disable spawning spawners? Or am I just blind?
I don't know.
I think they disabled spawning spawners, and I'm kind of mad. I wanted recursive spawners. I think it's not there, right?
Yeah, Loy says, for me, the hardest part is tying in narrative elements with gameplay. So when you say this, the first thing that I think of is the Uncharted series, which is a PlayStation exclusive, better than Tomb Raider, I think. Because it was more
That's a
serious,
contentious
more
statement.
cinematic. It was a contentious statement, I understand. That's why I said, I think. See, I can't be wrong when it's just my feelings.
How
you know
dare
I mean?
you think
Yeah.
that's...
So the in the Uncharted series, you'll notice that one of the obvious narrative things that I never personally liked was that he would be going into an ancient temple that nobody's seen for thousands of years, and then he gets inside and there's an army of gunmen there to face him, and I'm like, come on guys, what are you doing with that? But nonetheless, typically when Nathan Drake does his thing successfully, there will always be like a little cutscene, and you can emulate this in the game maker, where like he jumps out a window and he's flying, he's doing his thing, and he lands in water. And as he lands in water, behind him, the doorway that he just jumped out of, or the window that he just jumped out of, something collapses, closes it off, right? And this would be a great way for you to make a narrative thing that makes sense as you go running out. You make like a little text bubble that's like crash or whatever, and like, woof, I barely made it, or something like that. And maybe the user turns around and you replace the door with an asset that looks like a pile of rubble, but it's a single asset that's designed the way that you like it to look. And that would allow you to then void or despawn all the assets that are inside the room behind you, cleaning up the game so that they lag less for the objects that they can't see. So that could be a narrative piece that would be really easy for you to do. Lizard Kings, I'm seeing actually a huge issue with the assets that you guys have submitted lately. And I'm not totally sure that that's on you guys. So I'm going to get more details about it. And it's possible that I may have to send you all an email with the links that didn't work, because the links that were submitted within the last week, I thought it was just like a chance that you guys didn't submit it right using the website, but it appears that literally every link that everyone has sent me for the last week doesn't work. So I need to figure some things out and see if that's something like maybe a rule changed or what have you. And I'll get back to you guys on it. That is part of the reason why I mentioned on the news that the last submissions that we can do for art is going to be on the 14th, because I want to make sure that everybody can get their submissions in and we can get them approved, regardless of any little hiccups like this. So I'll get back to you guys, each and every one of you who submitted something in the art asset form. I'll get back to you.
So Clankersh asked a question about making different sized games. For example, 4x4, a 2x2, and a few 1x1 games. Can we publish all of them to a 6x6? And yes. So the way land publishing works at the moment. So it's not public, like users can't publish to lands right now. But the way it's working internally as we're developing things is that when you go to publish a land, you set the coordinate for one corner of the land. And I don't know if it's like the southwest corner or the northwest corner. I don't know which corner you define for it, but you would say for your 2x2 plot, you would say which coordinate is the first land, and then it just maps that out. So you can do that to any plot that you own, as long as your land doesn't go outside. So I'm gonna I'm going to use the game maker because it'll be easier if I can like actually show you on a screen instead of just trying to describe it. So let's say you've got a 3x3 plot like this, and you've got a 4x4 land that you want to place on it. You're not going to be able to start it here and have it expand off onto somebody else's land like that. So you can put it here, or you can put it here. This sounds like a Fatboy Slim song. You can put it here, and you can put it here. So you have 4 positions that you could put this 2x2. And obviously, you know, if you have a 6x6, it's going to be a bunch more positions that you could do. So you could have your 4x4 here, and your 2x2 here, and a few 1x1s, and you can leave some of these other things unpublished. So it's you can even do like a 3x1 here, and 2x1 here.
Yep.
So you're going to be able to publish out like that, and then you can rent these. You can be like, hey, I'm going to rent these out to people like this. You wouldn't be able to do a right angle like this. It has to be a rectangular land, as far as I know. So, you'll be able to do any sort of configuration like that, and that's when we press this button. I don't think you can do it from this screen, but if you had access to the next stage of this after publishing, that's where you would define the starting coordinate, whichever corner it's on, and that's the process there. The advantage of buying estates, because I have two 3x3 estates. One of them is a 3x3 that I bought each piece one at a time, which is no longer possible these days with land sales to do that because there's too many people active. But in the first couple land sales, it went slow enough that you could actually buy up a whole 3x3 one at a time. And then I have one that's an actual 3x3 estate. So the only real difference between those is that the 3x3 is bundled. Each individual land plot is still still has its own coordinate that can be defined just the same as these other lands. And you can tell that because when people sell these 3x3s on OpenSea, I believe they can sell the lands in them one at a time, right?
Yeah,
which is something you need to
part them out. Yeah,
it's something you need to watch out for. If you see somebody selling an estate on OpenSea, you want to check the contents of that sale to make sure that each plot of land is still in that bundle, and that they haven't sold off a portion of it and are selling you this awkward little piece. Sometimes it happens innocently. Sometimes they don't realize that they may be selling something that is ambiguous and misleading, and other people probably definitely are trying to be scammy about it and be like, ha ha ha, I only sold you these pieces, and now you're stuck with this weird configuration of land. So
I had I'm gonna give you a fun story about that, Alex, just to your point there.
Sure.
With innocent listing, probably
I know
8
this story.
months ago now.
I remember this.
This guy lists an estate of lands, or so they thought, and at the time, every week I would get on to try to help people who were looking for lands, and I would find the least expensive 3x3 estates that were available, and I would paste them in our Discord channel, and I would say, hey, this week you can get this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, in order of least expensive if you just want an estate of 3x3. And I didn't look super close to this one guy's listing where they had like all of the square except for like the top corner, and then they accidentally added one land from a totally different bundle halfway across the map. And so what had happened was that a user came through and they saw the estate, and then they messaged me and they were like, am I, Joe, trying to mislead people and rip you off and do these other things? And I said, no, I'm so sorry about that. Like, I see what's going on. I see that this is an issue. I have a 3x3. Why don't you give me all the junk and I'll give you my 3x3? and it'll be fine. We'll sort it out. And then I messaged the person back who had originally listed, and they just said, like, oh man, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to list them wrong. Do you want it? Do you just want me to give it to you or whatever? And I was like, no, I'll buy the extra one off of you. It's fine. And we'll get it sorted out. But there are situations like that. So when you look at those listings on OpenSea, whether it be the ones that say they are estates or the ones that say they're premium lands, things like that, make sure that you're getting exactly what you're expecting to get. If it seems unusually inexpensive for a premium land, maybe it doesn't come with the other asset, just the land. Or, if you're buying an estate bundle, make sure that you do see that it comes with all 9 or all 36 or what have you number of lands, and that they are organized in a nice square shape that you expect, because it's very easy for somebody to misclick, that sort of thing. On OpenSea, they show up in your inventory in the order in which they were minted, and they mint like a snake. If you've ever watched the map as they mint live in those big estates, they just kind of, so it's very easy to not see them in the right order when you're looking at your inventory. So
Yeah, always double check those coordinates. And that's something, when I've gone to as a seller, not that I don't usually sell my land. I've sold a couple plots of my land, mostly because I had gotten either 7 or 8 out of a 3x3 manually, and somebody else got to that last one, and I didn't have any way that I could find to contact that person at that time, and I was like, I'm just gonna sell off these plots because I want to I want to get something else, and so I ended up doing that. But I had to very carefully check as the seller. I wanted to make sure that I was selling the right plots, so I was very careful to check the addresses, that both the coordinates and also the links on OpenSea, to make sure that I was collecting the correct things to sell. So it's helpful to be careful on both sides of that thing. Ooh, I might have just lag spiked pretty hard there.
too many resources.
Just killed all of them all at once.
All right, I want to make a special announcement for all you folks. Over on YouTube.com right now, we have a winner for the Wizard
Is
of
that
Blue
2
NFT.
YouTubes in a row?
That's just the one. The
Okay.
last week was Twitch as well.
Okay.
Twitch was on a little bit of a roll. They
Twitch
had
was
3
on a
weeks in a
roll,
row, but
yeah.
now YouTube is back, baby. Elizabeth V19. You are our winner for this week, the Wizard of Blue NFT asset. So congratulations. You've bursted the bubble of Twitch.tv. We're back with a little YouTube. Logan, don't worry, Logan. I see you in here in our chats regularly. I'm sure you'll be here for our next live stream. We give away these Wizard of Blue NFTs on each and every official live stream, as long as there can be 2 people there. Sometimes we've got special events or meetings that we must attend, that sort of thing. But Ariel, we just finished the Wizzy drop just now. This second, I was announcing that the winner was Elizabeth V19 from YouTube, among all of our other platforms. Ariel, I put the link in the chat. Every once in a while, I'll go back and forth kind of week to week or stream to stream, where sometimes I just kind of quietly drop it in the chat to make sure that the people who are winning are people who are actively engaged with us, and definitely interacting and that sort of thing. And yes, you're right, Smobler. It has been a very fast hour. It is already an hour into.
We started a little bit late because we were trying to get Periscope to work, which for some reason did not work. So we'll keep going on for a little bit. I mean, I don't know if Joseph can stick around. I can stick around, but
I mean, I have some time.
Okay.
I have to crash and figure out why all of these asset submissions that were just sent in to us throughout the last week or so. Like I said, I thought it was just kind of a coincidence that things weren't working and maybe people didn't submit it correctly.
Is there an issue with the form?
So it's not the form. Like, I'm getting all the links, but every single link goes nowhere right now.
Okay.
So
I will.
it
We'll talk about that after, and I'll see if I can help
okay.
you out with that.
Yeah. Okay, that'd be great because it's a long list now. That's probably some 100 assets that need to be approved. And again, the due date on these assets is going to still be the set to the 14th, so that we have all your art submissions for the game jam. Everything gets ready, and we can get them all approved. Because for us, we need to approve each individual asset that you submit in order for it to be ready, visible on the gallery, so they can play. And one more thing, hopefully this user is still in the chat, but um, earlier there was a question that asked about uh, what version the reviewers will use. So if you have to set a specific version in order for your glitches to work of the game maker, then please note that in your submission when you have that final submission. That maybe it's in your video or something that says this game is intended to work with version something something something, right? That way we can get that distributed to the reviewer, and or as internal team or something is kind of looking at them, because we are going to see, like in the past we've had some submissions that were put in and it was literally just a piece of land with like 4 wolves on it, and they were like, this is my game jam submission. So we probably won't send something like that forward to a Square Enix reviewer to look at this and give it a 0, you know what I mean? But nonetheless, if you have to submit it with a version, please do submit that with a version so that we can get it all sorted out and get it into their hands, get it to the Ubisoft person or something like that, and say, use this client for this game, and keep it easy for them.
So we never really answered the question about hiding. I mean, I mentioned that we did last Saturday. We talked about how to hide. The actual question from last Saturday was how to kill a invincible character. So you can set a character to be invincible, so no number of sword hits will kill them. But if you want to use the kill message, then the kill message doesn't work on an invincible character. So you need some other way to get rid of them. And what we figured out is if you add a parent object to it, so you make this boss NPC or whatever it is a child of another asset, which can be hidden somewhere, you can kill that object with your message to like cause the rock slide or whatever the situation may be. And when that gets destroyed, the enemy also gets destroyed. The disadvantage to that is that they die instantly. So you could possibly make some sort of situation where that one instantly disappears as another one spawns, and that's the one that you see die. I don't see the timing on that working very well. Somebody might be able to figure out a way to do that. I feel like the timing would not quite line up convincingly to have that situation. So you would want the way that they get killed to be dramatic, like a bunch of rocks falling on top of them or something. So you just see them vanish underneath the rocks, where it would make more sense. Or have them
right back, Alex. 1 sec.
Sure.
Sorry.
Or have them fall to the bottom of the map and disappear some way like that. So there's different ways you could work it out where the instant disappearing makes sense. But that is really the only way we have right now to kill an invincible boss. One that you cannot fight with just a sword. So what I'm trying to do here, because the question today is how can you hide the VFX, is to potentially, I don't know if this is going to work or not, potentially have the parent asset die a little bit faster than the character. And if I have a feeling that this is actually going to make their VFX get stuck visually. Okay, so it didn't quite work. One thing is that messages do have a distance delay. So the closer something is, the faster the message will relay. It's almost instantaneous, but there's a slight difference. And thanks to, I think it was Cyber Dragon who pointed that out to me, which I hadn't realized before. So let's see. Yeah, so you can still see the poof. So what if we set the delay on this a lot lower? Anamasuti one, I'm not sure I'm saying that right. So the giveaway already happened. That was revealed about 10 minutes ago or so. We're actually in overtime for the stream right now. It's 10 after. We usually end right on that. Well, that's a lie. We don't usually end right on the hour. We're supposed to end on the hour, but usually we're having too much fun, and we're trying to answer your questions, so we go a little bit long. So let's see here. Let's make the death delay on this. I thought I said a death delay, so that's -1. Let's set this to -2. And that means it will die a little bit faster. Yeah, it dies a little bit too fast. Let's try that -1. The death delays, I believe you can only set as integers. So we're kind of limited in, I can't do like a 1.5. Yeah, it just sets it to 2. So if I set it to -1, let's see what happens there. Yeah, so he doesn't really fall at all. If you wanted to still show him falling. So he starts to fall. If we get it long enough for him to fall, then you see the explosion anyway. So there's not really a way for us to hide the explosion right now. The way, oh my goodness, that is a huge message. Let's get rid of that. There we go. All right. Good grief. I saw like it flash out of the corner of my eye because it was such a large message. It actually like blew up my screen. Yeah, Clanker should be you could do something like Lord of the Rings for that. You could have your Balrog with you can't fight him, you try attacking him and nothing deals him damage. And then it would actually kind of be like the original Super Mario Brothers. You get to like the other side of the bridge, you flip a switch, and then the blocks would disappear out from under him. He'd fall down or something like that. Could do all sorts of stuff like that. I wonder. I'm thinking if you had if you made so the difficulty with gravity is that if you put gravity on an object. Like an enemy, and you run into them, you kick them over. So even if you couldn't attack him, you'd still be able to knock him down, which would be kind of silly. But what if you made the Balrog a child of an object that could fall, and you give gravity to that object, and then you getting to the other side of the bridge would void the blocks underneath this object, so it would fall. The Balrog would fall, maybe. I'm not sure. We would see, and then it could fall like off the map and get destroyed. That I want to try that out. Yes, I'm sorry, Dan, about the subtitles not working. We're trying to figure out a solution for that. It's complicated. I don't know if you saw my tweet about that. The Twitch tool that we had used before for subtitles, and I don't know when it stopped working, but it only works for the person whose mic is active, and so Joseph and I are on opposite sides of the country, and so he comes in through a Discord call, and the program would only sense what's coming through my mic, and it would not sense Joseph at all, and we would like to be able to have both of us be visible on subtitles. So I would recommend, I'm pretty sure YouTube does automatic subtitling through the stream. And I'm not sure why Twitch doesn't have that. It's kind of weird. So we're trying to figure out something that works around the best for everybody. But for right now, it seems like YouTube is probably the platform. If you're having trouble hearing us, or I think YouTube also does automatic translation with its subtitles. So if English isn't your first language, it might help with that also. I'm not positive on that one. It's difficult for me to test the YouTube streams while I'm streaming because I don't want to waste your time by by watching myself talk. Hey, there's Joseph again. Let's see. Something to consider for a better user experience for the drops. Chat can't be open at the same time someone is watching the video. Also being consistent.
Ooh.
What's up?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no. I get it, Ariel. I mean, I assume you're watching on a mobile phone or something like that. And if you watch where you're not on portrait mode, but you're on widescreen, then chat probably wouldn't pop up. Ariel's just mentioning the fact that I linked the link, but I didn't say, hey, I linked the link, that sort of thing.
Okay. It was a stealth link drop.
Yeah, it was a stealthy
got
link
it.
because you were explaining some mechanics or something, and I didn't want to
Yeah.
interrupt you. And so, but Orso Blonde, what happens if someone has two golden stake keys? You can put it into two different land experiences.
Yeah. I'm not sure how you could get two keys unless you bought one on OpenSea. So yeah, you can do whatever you want with that key. It's an NFT just like any of the other ones that we sell. It is an asset that you can place in your games. You can as Joseph said, you can mint two separate experiences with them. You could use one as a giveaway prize. You could and keep one for yourself. You could give away both of them. You could sell them. You can do whatever you want with them. I'll drop a little hint. I'm not going into any details about this right now, but I have plans to do fun stuff with those keys and those monthly staking prizes. So we already are setting up the ability to gate access to experiences with NFTs. That is how the Season 0 is going to work. You have to have a ticket NFT in your wallet in order to access to access the Season 0 content. And that ability will be available to people making their own games. So you will be able to set up access to your experiences through NFT gating. You could use that as ticketing. You could make tickets for people to access your game. You could make that you could make an experience for one single person and give them the NFT, and they'd be the only person to access it. And then when they were done, they could trade that to somebody else, and then they could access it. If you wanted to have a VIP, one person at a time experience, I don't see that being super useful because you could just do a single player game and then one person at a time would be in the game anyway. But if you wanted it to be a special experience, like a gift, like, hey, there's this cool game and only one person at a time, not so much that one person at a time can play it, but just one person has access to even experience it. If you wanted a really super exclusive special prize for somebody, you could gate it that way. And then if they had a friend that they were like, this is super awesome, you need to check this out, and then you could have a whole mystique around this, you could do something like that. So there's lots of things that you can do by this NFT gating, and I plan on doing some stuff with that, with these staking rewards. So yeah, go ahead, sell them, trade them, do whatever you want with them. Cool. Up to you. I mean, there was kind of a hint on the key, so if you got rid of yours prematurely and are feeling a little regret about this, you should have read the description of the item. There it is. So there you go.
Secrets. I'm going to answer a question here to the best of my ability, but not as a certainty. Smobler Studios asks, what is the time zone for the Game Jam submission? So the Game Jam, as a project, the owner, person who's in charge of it in our company, lives in the U.S. Central Time Zone. I believe maybe it's Mountain. Actually, I think it's Mountain.
I think it's Mountain. Yeah.
So typically in the past they have closed the submissions at midnight Mountain Time. So that's GMT -6 right now. So just keep that in mind. UTC -6. I want to get.
I think right. So. Yeah.
Yeah, UTC
I
minus
would
6.
not
That's me.
wait till the last hour if you can help it,
Right.
though.
Yeah.
I
I
would
mean,
try to give yourself at least like 12 hours to
right.
to not be shaving it so close to the edge, because who knows, you may lose power, your internet might cut out,
Right.
anything
Number
could
of things.
happen. So I don't want to worry you and panic you, but I would say, work
Yeah, like
work hard to not be right on the deadline, because
yeah,
it's that gets risky. And it's not like you
here's
can
my
call your
feedback.
professor and be like, oh, my my grandmother got sick and I had to run off
Yeah.
to another
Yeah.
state, can you give me an extension? Like, that's not going to happen with these judges.
Right.
So
I would say that for me, if I was submitting a game right now, I might start submitting over this week the game itself, right? Whatever state it's in, version 01 or something. And then upload again when you get more done next day, version 02. Sure, it'll fill up the gallery, but that's fine. The gallery can go for infinite space essentially. So keep submitting on those throughout the week, and then just write down like what version you're on. And then when you get to the point where you're filling out the form and you're uploading the like hype video for it and that sort of thing, you already know what number you're on, and then you can just say like, I'm on version such and such, and then when the reviewers are going and looking for your game, sure they'll see all the other versions, but that's fine. Um, and then there's one other question here that I want to hit on. Greenview Media says, I noticed staking has a few warnings on the page. Is it a safe process? Um, I have
really,
staked. Alex stakes.
yeah,
It is a safe process.
I don't know what warnings there.
If I was to think about some of the warnings that might exist, one of them is that this is on Uniswap, not on our end mostly, but when you stake a token, let's say, and this is not the case, let's say that one ETH and one Sand were worth exactly the same thing today, right? They were both worth $1, if that was the case. Um, when you stake, you have to stake an equal proportion of them. So you would stake $2 total in value with one ETH and one Sand. And if Sand became worth more tomorrow, but ETH was worth less tomorrow, then when you cash out, you're still getting the equal value regardless. So if you cashed out tomorrow and Sand was worth more and ETH was worth less, then what you actually cash out will be less Sand tokens and more ETH tokens, because they're still going to be worth the exact same value in dollars, right? So that's how that works. So one of those warnings is like, hey, they will be worth the same dollars when you pull it out. You will get your stake earning reward, but you may not have the same exact number of each, right? So just
Yeah.
that's the only major caveat that I could see has a warning on it. But if you understand that and you just want to earn some more Sand tokens because you can use them in the metaverse or you can use them to buy art, that sort of thing, then it's. I mean, I felt like it was worth it. I earned quite a bit of extra Sand when I was doing staking. I stopped doing staking to do some other things, but obviously, like, I think we had a land sale a couple of months ago, and I just never ended up restaking it because I was like, I'm gonna buy an estate, and this is when we first did our auctions.
Yeah. So,
Um,
uh, yeah, the way, now this isn't financial advice. You do your own research and do what seems smart for what your situation is, and your best judgment. But the way I treat staking is like a savings account. When I put it in there, I don't touch it. I walk away, and that is my it's like a really high return savings account. I have earned way more in Sand than I have in like decades of savings accounts, because bank savings accounts have such a low rate of interest compared to what Sand is gaining. Not even considering the market up and down, just what the return is on the Sand
yeah,
balance. So As far as what the average payout is, it's going to be different because I believe it's based on what your percentage of the pool is, correct, and as well as the land multiplier.
Yes.
So
So
it's going to
I
be different for everybody's setup based on how much land you have and what you put into it. But it's still a decent
I did
return.
link a tool just now um,
Oh, I
that
remember that
might
one.
help you with that. So this tool can tell you roughly what you may be earning at any given time. But again, this is based on a lot of different variables. First of all, there is one pool of sand. So if today one person was staking and the pool was, 2 million sand or 1.5 million sand or something, then over the course of that month, that one person would automatically earn all of the sand that's available. But because that is not the case, and there are a bunch of people staking, there are two factors to consider: how many people are staking. So now your 1.5 million is divided by those number of people, and then also there is a weighted multiplier to your percentage of the stake based on how many lands you own as well. So you're getting a proportion of the total value that you stake. So if you stake $100 out of $1 million worth of staking, then that's your percentage, and then that percentage is multiplied by the number of lands that you own. And the math on that is over on medium.com/sandbox-game. You can see the like logarithmic curve kind of thing that we have going for that. So the multiplier is a lot better for people between like their first and their 10th land compared to like their 100th to their 1000th land. Um, Smobler, yes, that is correct. In fact, that is the case. Um, as demand for land goes up, as people get more excited about playing in the sandbox, we're not measuring land based on a dollar sign, US dollar, that is. We are measuring land in sand because the community asked us in after sale 4.2, I think, the community said, we have the sand token. Why is land not associated with that? And that makes sense, right? So 1 by 1 land is 1,011 sand. During sale 4.2, that meant it was $48 for a land. Obviously now, as again demand is going up, usability is going up, people are excited to get these lands because they want to make these games that we're showing you how to make regularly. That value in US dollars is going up for a land. And that's a good thing for everyone all the way around. Um, Regardless of who you are, right? People are seeing a value proposition. If you can charge one sand for people to come and play your game because you've made a great game and people see, they're willing to pay what is, I think a sand right now is like 30 cents a quarter, maybe 40 cents,
Uh,
somewhere in that ballpark.
27 cents. It's on the
Okay.
screen.
So if a user, sorry, I'm not looking at
No,
the
it's
screen
okay.
right now, but um, if a user thinks that your game is as fun as a game at their local arcade, they'd be willing probably to pay 25 cents to play. So then you only need 1,011 people to pay your or play your game before that 1,011 sand is paid for itself, right? So it's still a great deal when you think about it from that perspective. And there are many different ways, as Alex mentioned. NFT gating is another way where you can sell your asset just like you'd be selling a physical disc of Final Fantasy or something to that degree, right? You sell the asset, now they have that forever. Or they can go take it to their, OpenSea, which is close to like your used game shop, and you can sell it and somebody else can buy it. And then they have that asset to have their license to play your game. And you've still made the value proposition back. So I think a lot of people are seeing that and thinking, 1,011 sand, still a great price. And even if it goes up from here, I don't really think that's a bad thing either because users would still be like, I can't tell you how many games I've paid $1 for on my mobile phone, and then I'm like, well, it's pretty good. It was worth it. Whereas the sandbox is like so big, and we've seen so many great games already that paying $1 to have a license to play a game sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, so these numbers are going to be different for everybody, but the original question was kind of like what's the average return. So this is my return specifically, and like I said, it'll be different for different people, but I'm looking at almost a 40% APR. That's
Right.
annual return.
APY, yeah, annual
APY,
percentage
yeah.
yield. Yeah.
Um, and that's so that's 40% on about a $2,000 investment, about $1,000 US in sand and about $1,000 US in ETH at what their
Mhm.
current value is. You can actually see the total value there. So that's how much sand and ETH I put into the liquidity pool. And have we been doing staking almost a year now?
Uh, no,
No,
it's
like
probably
6 months
been
or so.
6 or 8 months. Yeah,
Yeah,
something like
I
that.
couldn't. I don't remember when it started. So yeah, I have withdrawn sand rewards. I have done the claim before. Um, I don't remember how much time since it's been maybe like a month or two, but I feel like that's getting me a pretty good return there. So I recommend it, and it does help that I have I think like 35 land or so. I don't remember exactly how many lands I have, but um, uh, like Joseph said, those first few lands are the bulk of your bonus.
Yeah,
Now, do you need land? Period. Can you stake without land?
you can absolutely stake without
Okay,
land.
because I think
When
somebody
I was
mentioned.
staking,
I
I
think
was
somebody
doing it on a
asked.
wallet that had no land at all, and I
Yeah.
was getting about a six, or I'm sorry, a 30% APY at the time. Again, it's been some time. I probably haven't staked in the last 3 months, and that's really stupid, in my opinion, on my part, because
Get on
obviously I
that.
could have been earning free sand, and I'm just like sitting on it at this point because I'm now it's a totally different proposition too. Usually before we'd be talking to people and we would say, hey, do the math, right? We would say, make sure that it's a good investment for you. But, for the last, I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I'm going to look right now. The median gas price right now is 8 guai. So when I was telling people, make sure you're doing the math and like seeing if it's worth it, a transaction used to be like $50 to process. Now it's 387. $3.87 to process a transaction. And you can see Alex has a claim waiting there of $92. So he
I
made
mean, we
an
can see.
ROI, pretty much instantly
Yeah.
with
So
that. So
if I wanted to claim that $92 right now, it would cost me $6 in gas.
right,
Uh,
yeah,
which so I could just put $85 in my pocket right now.
right. And
Easy.
and that's not only that, but some people talk about like compounding return as well. So it's possible that for $12, or I guess it would be like $18, Alex could take out the $80, add it into the pool again, and then restake it again and get compounding return on that because you can get a return on the return, right? So there's a bunch of complicated things, and this is nothing really to do with what we're supposed to do on Saturdays, but hopefully it's very useful information for you guys who are looking at it as a value or investment proposition,
Yeah.
and
Saturdays are
understanding that.
education days. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly,
Uh,
exactly. I hope nobody minds.
yeah.
Hope nobody minds
So
me.
I just wanted to clear that up for Rebecca on YouTube because Rebecca asked or said wish you could stake without land. So you absolutely can do that. There was actually
Yeah.
an even older question from Greenview Media about can you make VFX in Vox
Mhm.
Edit, and yes and no. These are not effects that I can just put on any asset. Um, the thing with VFX is you would probably need a complicated preset system in order to get it to work the way that you want it to work. So
Mhm.
um, you would need to be able to trigger the animation and then remove the asset from the scenario. So that involves toggling behaviors and spawning and voiding and dealing with the death explosion of assets that you want to disappear and how you're going to handle all that. So making VFX that you can just put in your game, not really possible at this point, but you can make assets that have sort of VFX effects. That's kind of redundant. Going on. And these are two that I made. This one was for the Care Bear sale, and this was for the Smurfs sale. And so the point with this present is that you would be able to trigger it as a void. So you tell it that that it plays that explosion animation, and that would be something that would damage the player or knock them back or something. So yeah, you can absolutely do different sorts of effects.
I got this one.
We got another spam. While you were gone, we had one that was so long it like took up the whole screen.
Oh. Well, now I got to go back over to that social media outlet and make sure that I look at the page again and ban them. Hard, heavy bans. Right. Heavy bans incoming, folks.
All right. Well, I pulled it out of the screen so people can't see it anymore. So let's wrap up some of these questions. Logan asked about teleporting. Smobbler Studios pointed out that there's some tutorials. So yeah, check out Game Maker Academy channel on Twitch. That is by our good friend Peter, aka Cyber Dragon, who is a previous Game Jam winner, and he did win first place on one of his games, right? I believe so. I know he's
on the second Game Jam. He won first place, yeah. And on the third one,
second place.
I think second or third place, and yeah, maybe second.
So he's a good friend of ours. He actually works with the staff now, helping out with stuff, and he does a great job putting together tutorials. He comes up with all sorts of great stuff. So definitely check out. This is our more general and kind of like social friendly chit chat. We hang out with all of you and answer general questions. Peter, Cyber Dragon, he gets into like the deep, not code, but it's he gets really in there with really advanced tutorials. He creates amazing game mechanics using he's the MacGyver of the game maker, really is what he is. So check out the Game Maker Academy channel on Twitch. The teleporting tutorials I think were from over a month ago now. But he probably put teleporting in the title, so if you search through his channel for those, you should be able to find them.
They created over 6 weeks. It says Game Jam #4 Battle System Demo. This is a tweet that they made on June 7th. YouTube video. It says 6 weeks of full-time work, 100 tags, 82 health components, 63 speaker components, and 234 toggle behavior.
Good grief.
They made to make this battle system work. So if you want to see some like complex tutorials and ideas, then Cyber Dragon is good to go. Yeah. If you're looking for things that are more complex than what we do, but accessible to get you kind of in the middle, then you'll want to follow Andy Ritchie. Mm-hmm. The ads say the NFTs and sand will be given out in live streams. We used to do sand, but I would like to see. Yeah, that ad may be very dated, and I apologize for that. If that's something that you're seeing on Facebook or something like that, then I'm making a note for that right now, because it's not. It used to be that we gave away sand, and then we had this period where it cost 3, 4, 5 times more in the Ethereum transaction to send sand. So we switched to the NFT because it's usable. It's very nice. A lot of people like it,
and it sells for like $300 now.
Yeah, that's true. So like it was a much better reward than sand that we were giving away, because I think we were giving away like $5 worth of sand or something like that at the time.
Not nearly as much as what Wizzy's worth.
Right, Wizzy's worth considerably more than that, but nonetheless, I will make sure that we have a look at that ad really quick.
All right, thank you for pointing that out, because that's very old information, and that should have been removed a long time ago. We'll definitely check that out. Twitch might be saying it on. We should check our profile stuff. And
could be from old Medium articles. Okay. Which shows you give away sand as well. All right, I'll have a look at that stuff and we'll get it sorted there. I want to address something from Rebecca again. If you're still there, Rebecca, you said, so if I stake now, would I get the key or would it be something else? So how that works is, we will announce an award. And when we do make that announcement, it is like we took a snapshot and said who was staking at such a time, and then we give away that asset to those people. So, the key, if you stake today, you're not eligible for that. Or like the Wizzy, the golden NFT that we did months ago, you wouldn't be eligible for one of those because those snapshots were taken back in time. But you will be eligible for one in the future if you start staking now. And the time frame would be between when the key was snapshotted to such an end time, right? So just keep that in mind that you'll have to be staking when the snapshot is taken in order to be eligible for it.
Yeah, and Anders K, we answered that earlier. The golden key that you claimed, it's a NFT. You can do whatever you want with it as a collectible, but we have some secret plans for it. So you may want to hold on to it if you're interested in sticking around with us.
Dane, it looks like Dane's over on Facebook and says subtitles function there.
Okay, good.
Is that right, Dane? It does. It's not the same username now on the screen, so I apologize, but I think that's you.
Yeah, so that's good to know that subtitles are working on Facebook. Yeah, Twitch requires you to use plugins that have limited use, like they're not compatible for all situations. So Twitch is a little weird when it comes to the subtitles. Clanker's is doing ! Sand and fountain. that's old callbacks there.
That's a throwback right there.
Clanker's is showing how long he's been around here.
It used to be once upon a time we would have this overlay that took up the whole darn screen instead of doing it on a form like we do now, where everybody would type ! Something in the chat, and then it would be like a call, and your name would pop up on the screen, but Alex would be talking and trying to show people something, and then all of a sudden it would be like flood with text, and no one could read or see anything. And so we changed that system, and I think that the forums are a lot more efficient.
All right, let's wrap up the questions here. Let's see. Anything we're missing further back here? I think we got Logan's questions. Let's see. I want to make sure that we're not leaving anybody hanging, but of course you can always ask us on Twitter if we miss your question on the stream. Ask us on Twitter. We check our mentions, so you can reply to whatever you see me or Joseph tweeting and tag us, or you can even reply. If you reply to a Sandbox tweet and tag us, we'll see that. But if you just reply to the Sandbox, even though we have access to that account, we're not always on that one, so we might not see it right away. It might be a little bit. So make sure you tag us. And we should probably put our... I'm at Kamisazi. Just tag us and you don't know what our usernames are. And Joseph is the Vision X, right?
Yep.
Vision EX. All right. Mm-hmm. So I just put our Twitter handles in the chat. So make sure you go and follow us and use those to summon us when you have a question.
Yes. And for me, the only exception is probably Facebook, where I won't see the message. Unless it's a direct message request, I would see it there, because I really don't use that platform much anymore. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, that's my username on everything, period. So... Got an idea? You're on that platform. Send me a DM. It's fine.
All right, and yes, we did already do the giveaway. So we did the giveaway, like 40 minutes ago. We're 40 minutes over now. So we're wrapping stuff up. Will players be able to save their progress on a given game? So not at this point. That is something that I think we're looking towards in the future. But right now, games are relatively short. The longest that I've played a single game, when I'm actually like playing it and not, goofing around trying to poke at every single little thing, is about an hour or so. And that would have been on Force Majeure, which was the first place winner of the last game jam, which was actually 2 4x4 maps, one after the other. And I think each half took me about an hour to play through. And obviously you could make a game on a 4x4 that has way more intricacy. If you put like what Cyber Dragon puts into a 1x1 and put that on a 4x4, you could easily be playing that game like 6, 7, 8 hours. So yeah, it's going to be something that we need to look for in the future, but is not something on the current roadmap. I mean, it's not in the current feature list, but at some point we should have game saving so you can resume progress in the middle of what you're doing. All right, so I think that's about it. Not animated. How do you know that? What are you?
Wait, I'm sorry. What? Great stream. Not animated. Just said great stream. Am I living in the past? Am I not saying something?
No. I'm looking back at old comments, and Not Animated said
okay.
A chest next month, and I don't think Not Animated knows what they're talking about. Let's see. Was it in a Medium article? Oh, you know what? So I haven't seen the Medium article, but one of our community managers asked me for the render. So yes, it is a chest. Go check out our Medium to see what that looks like. I put that render together. That's Voxel Bunny, who occasionally pops into our streams, made the key that you can claim right now. I made the chest that will be for the June staking reward. So if you want to get that chest, make sure you stake this month. No, I didn't know that the information had been released yet, which is why I wasn't saying anything, and I didn't realize the article had come out. So
who leaked that? Oh my god! Who did that?
Not Animated just got banned. Alrighty, the live stream ending song should be a radio asset that plays the sound. If you want, I totally make it, Joseph. Okay. Greenview Media has pledged to set up an outro here. All right, we're gonna head out, and
Dynamic.
I don't think I can escape out of here. I'm
all these buttons, folks.
We gotta escape. Gotta escape.
You know what? Just for that. Here's what we're gonna do.
Boom.
I'm not doing the same one today.
Here we go.
I'm gonna change it up.
Come on.
It's gonna get intense here really quick, folks. So if your stuff's turned way up and you don't want this, turn it down just a little bit, because it's gonna go crazy.
Here we go.
All right, folks. It's been great having you here today. Appreciate you. Again, if you're submitting your arts and assets, I have all those URLs, but we're going to try to figure out why they don't do what I expect them to do. And that should be approved soon. I thought it was just coincidence, but have a great weekend, everyone. It's time to rock out real quick. Alex, see you later.